Alright, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of crypto news. As you can see, it's just filled to the max with crypto news today. So we're going to try and move past some of these pretty quickly. But the main thing that I want to talk about today is that Coinomi wallet transmits plain text seed phrase for spell checking. Whoops. So the bug came to light after a user noticed 60 to 70,000 of cryptocurrency had disappeared after installing the wallet. Now, this, according to the Coinomi devs, is false. That this guy didn't lose any money, that they found his private keys. I don't know if that is true, if they're claiming to be, because you'll see in a moment that these Coinomi devs are a little interesting, and they're sort of living in denial, and it's pretty clear they could have fixed this nearly a year ago and really didn't. So is it true that this person lost $60,000 in cryptocurrency because of this? I don't know. The devs say no, he says yes, other people believe it, we don't know. Either way, the user had entered the passphrase for another wallet into the restore field to move some unsupported assets. A week later, 90% of his main wallet funds were missing, comprising purely of the Coinomi supported assets. So whether or not he actually lost this or not is not necessarily the story. The story is very interesting from here. So this is what you can see, and is this like on Windows 2000 or something? That was really, this looks ancient. Hold on guys, let's just hold on for 1 second. Is that Windows 98? Or like XP? What is this? That's pretty crazy, though. Either way, XP is still a great operating system. It's just horribly buggy. But moving on. So let's watch this video for a second, and maybe I can skip through it. So this is basically making a private seed for this wallet. There is no SSL in the Coinomi wallet. It might be now that the problem has occurred. So this is creating the restore. So this is the restore key. This is just a throwaway wallet. And you can see that once you're done, it actually sends this to Google because Google uses the spell checker on it. And you can see that Google has spell checked that wallet when you go to put it in. That's bad. That means it's transmitting it to Google. Although the devs say that Google would never hold on to this information because it's not really valid information. It's just these random words in not using a Google API. But not using SSL with the wallet is the problem. SSL is not enabled and has never been enabled in the Coinomi wallet, and it probably is now that they fixed it real fast. But that just means that, you know, if you were on a public network, somebody could easily get your information as you're transmitting it to the router and to the rest of the internet. Without SSL, without encryption, that means anybody at a cafe could be waiting around for Coinomi wallet users. You might be waiting around for a while, but it's still quite the security breach. Now you might think, oh, well, maybe it was just the devs and they had a little problem and they just forgot to do it. But that's not the case. It's been this way for a while. So let's move on to this article here with Luke Childs, who's a GitHub supporter, developer, etc., whatever. And people on the 16th of September in 2017, people realized pretty quick that there was no SSL encryption that when they're connecting to the Electrum X servers. So they're basically sending out the keys in plain text without SSL encryption. So it was just absolutely sending unencrypted data through this Coinomi wallet. And you can see here that these tweets kind of start on September 27th or so, maybe a little bit before, but the exact date is kind of irrelevant. And you can see these guys going back. So this is Coinomi responding to these people saying that there isn't any security concern regarding this issue. This title is misleading. So it transmits all data without encryption, essentially. So there's just no, what do you mean there's no security with that? So security now in the state of being free from danger or threat, your users' addresses are being leaked. I see that as a violation of both. And this goes on for quite a while. And I kind of wanted to show you this first so you could see these dates of September 2017. Such overstatements don't put pressure on us. They only make users abandon this great wallet because they believe this FUD. Keep it up. And it says, I created this issue under the gentle title, Use SSL for Electrum Nodes over 11 days ago, not to cause panic. So Coinomi is blaming this Luke guy for essentially not getting through to their support and making this public immediately. Now, maybe that is sort of an issue to make this public right off the bat instead of getting a hold of them, but he tried his best. Said, I created the issue over 11 days ago, and you ought to have waited for it to get answered just like everyone else. Instead, you went on Reddit, Twitter, everywhere, and spread the FUD. Well, this should have been fixed a long time ago. The world doesn't revolve around you, nor is this a personal issue, although you clearly made it one. He's like, I'm not quite sure what you mean. I have no personal issue with you. I actually really like Coinomi, as I mentioned in my original GitHub. So this is the actual conversation here between them, and these are just the tweets sort of compounded without the dates and the pictures and stuff. And if you guys want to read this, I will put this in the description below. And it goes on for a while. And Coinomi absolutely does not recognize this as an issue. The issue is that you spread FUD without waiting for an answer. They say also apologizing wouldn't hurt, not to us, but all the users that have turned to inferior and insecure alternatives because of your FUD. And so he responds back to these insecure alternatives. Also use plain text. And he says, look, this discussion isn't going anywhere. Maybe you should put less focus on blaming me for your mess up. Let me just correct that. Good old YouTube demonetization. And more for focusing on SSL. And he's like, for our mess up? What a sham, really. He said, such overstatements don't put pressure on us. They only make users abandon the Great Wall. He's like, I created the issue. And it goes on and on of them just not recognizing the issue at all. And them being angry at this person for pointing out this issue. And they just don't care. That's kind of hard. It's not bad privacy. This particular issue could be improved, but that's all. It never posed any security threat whatsoever. It says, if broadcasting all of your addresses over the internet in plain text isn't bad privacy, then what is? So this Coinomi wallet has serious issues. So this is Coinomi's explanation, and they basically say that the seed phrase wasn't being transmitted in plain text. Instead, it was being encapsulated inside of an HTTPS request, with Google being the sole recipient. The seed phrase wasn't being transmitted at all unless the user chose to explicitly restore their desktop wallet. So if you restored the wallet, that was where the problem was. The spell check requests that were sent over Google API were not processed, cached, or stored, and the requests themselves returned an error code 400 as they flagged as bad request and weren't processed further by Google. So Coinomi wallet is completely tossing this off. And like, just as if this is not a problem, no SSL encryption is not a security issue. This is outrageous, absolutely outrageous from the developers. They just refuse to answer this. It goes on and on. I will put this one in the link in the description below so you could use this, so you can read this one as well. So this one will be in there, and then this one will be in there. And so it says, in conclusion, we'll kind of skip this. It says, we have been successfully securing your blockchain assets since 2014. And this isn't going to change now. We take security very seriously, so you don't bother with SSL, but that's okay. We hire professional auditors and security experts to review our code and processes. So basically, another thing about Coinomi is that they used to be open source. They changed to closed source programming, to closed source code. So now you can't go in there and look and find this problem. So we've had 0 reports of hacked desktop wallets so far, other than Warith al-Malali's, which, however, cannot be sustained by the underlying facts. There are still ways to investigate the authenticity of his claim, and if the funds were indeed stolen, it was much more likely due to an infected host rather than Google itself stealing these funds. If the claim is proven to be false, we will seek remedies. Just like today, back in 2017, so then they go on to rip on the people that pointed out these problems. It just like today, back in 2017, Luke Childs and Jonathan Sterling acted totally irresponsibly by disclosing their findings in public before making sure that we are aware of them. They never opened a ticket with our support, the only formal way of contacting us back then. Well, maybe they didn't know that they could open a ticket. Yeah, you probably shouldn't put too many things public, but again, Luke posted to their Twitter, etc., with like, just use SSL for your encryption, which was like hint, hint, hint. And then after they didn't respond to that, he started to have to tell them this is the problem that your wallet is going to face over a year ago. Well, not quite a year ago, but a good number of months ago, 6-7 months ago. I don't know, math. Told them this a while ago, and now we're starting to really see this problem come to light. So this could have set Coinomi users' funds at risk. No, what could have set Coinomi users' funds at risk was the fact that you didn't use just a simple SSL encryption. Following the same paradigm, Wereth acted equally irresponsible by disclosing this in public before allowing us to sit with Google and make sure that it was highly unlikely scenario that seed phrases were captured by Google servers. They would be wiped out immediately. Now it's out of our hands thanks to Wereth. No, it isn't. Just use SSL. It's not out of your hands. Who vigorously reproduced the news via their personal accounts. After the dust settles, we all need to remember the names of those who chose self-assertion over general public safety and acted irresponsibly. This is displacement 101 at its finest. Any psychologist would be like, wow, this is brutal. You guys are kind of psychopaths. This is one of the worst developer responses I think I may have ever heard. We all need to remember the names of people who pointed this out, you know, that self-assertion and acted irresponsibly. Well, they tried to tell you for a while. I bet a lot of people probably tried to tell you that you weren't using SSL encryption. So you're basically just sending everything, all the information out. It's shocking. So now let's move on to our official statement on the spell check findings. This is on their Coinomi Twitter. When you click on this, you get this. But what I wanted to show you was some of the comments. You know, so there's people commenting back and forth, and, you know, some people are very angry at them. Don't let Coinomi get away with this. Question mark. It says, that's lousy in response to a major bug. He said, we'll publish the full correspondence in due time. Mr. Wereth blackmailed us repeatedly, and you're about to find out for yourself soon. We have all the evidence we need to seek remedies. And then some people are asking us for the comment, you know, like bloggers and stuff, news. And they said, please feel free to contact us or support any comment you need for your story. So they're just going to give out this blackmail evidence. So that'll probably come out soon. I really hope new evidence is brought to the table. It says, unfortunately, as mentioned in our statement, it wasn't us who delayed the disclosure. We tried to get responsible disclosure from the user for days. What do you mean? This has been going on for 7 months. So it's just, like, the comments are just pure gold. One person said, use a hardware wallet. Your private keys do not belong on an internet-connected machine. So Coinomi responds, hardware wallets that get wired to an online device are also connected by extension. So he says, wrong, which is wrong. You can use a hardware wallet to sign transactions offline. Even if you connect a hardware wallet to an online computer, the USB interface has a very small security surface to protect. Your online wallet has a huge attack surface. It says, and eventually you'll connect it to an online device to broadcast this transaction, so it's not air-gapped. It says, again, wrong, which is wrong. I can sign a transaction on Electrum on an air-gapped machine, write the signed a transaction onto a piece of paper, and then write it back into Electrum. The keys never see an online presence. It says, right, this is what hardware wallet users do. They type in manually signed transactions. It's really pointless to continue this conversation because a lot, like writing that whole thing down, you know, so that's sarcastic. So we have these things called QR generators, no typing required. If your security ideas involve insulting the intelligence of your customers, you're in the wrong business. So he just said, right, because, you know, he originally said write it onto a piece of paper, you know, and so sarcastically, and so somebody says, haha, wrecked, and then Coinomi liked that, and he said, Coinomi, this is awkward, you liked my comment, but I was laughing with Seth. So just one of the worst. I highly recommend not using Coinomi wallet because these people just will, they will lash out at anybody that points out bugs. They will lash out at anybody except accepting fault. Is that a thing? Right. So moving on here. How the Constantinople hard fork could stir up the Ether market. So I don't want to read this whole thing. We all kind of know what the Constantinople hard fork does. It does a lot of upgrades to the blockchain, does a lot of upgrades to Ethereum itself. And one of the main thing it does, probably at least in terms of if you're a concerned miner, it will reduce the block reward from 3 Ethereum to 2. So that's a significant reduction. It's not quite half like some other coins, like most coins where there's a halvening. It's more of like a thirdening. So not as bad as going to 1.5 Ethereum per block, but still quite the reduction in this bear market when Ethereum isn't really paying that much right now. Anyway, you may be profitable at the moment. You're going to be less profitable here really soon. Let me tell you how soon. There's also ProgPow that may come out. I know there's a lot of drama with ProgPow, this, that, and the other thing. But if ProgPow does come out, at least it'll kick off the ASICs, reduce the difficulty, and allow your GPUs to make more money, to be more profitable, actually. Either way, let's talk about that. So the block at which it will occur is 7,280,000. And so if we go to the Etherscan here, we can see that we are on 7,275,000. And Ethereum is finding blocks essentially about every 20, 30 seconds or so. So it should be Constantinople hard fork should occur within probably 12 hours or so. It should be tomorrow morning or whenever, but it's pretty soon. So prepare for a potential price increase during that time. Could be slightly after it, but there may be a price increase with Ethereum soon, at least what people hope that's going to happen. So moving on, hacked exchange CryptoPia discloses an estimate of its stolen crypto. So after being silent since the breach, the firm published a series of updates on Twitter. Most notably, CryptoPia provided an update on how much of the total assets held by the platform was lost in the cyber attack. So they say, we are currently continuing to work on assessing the impact incurred as a result of the hack in January. We calculated that the worst case, 9.4% of our total holdings was stolen. It says, as a result of the new wallets, please immediately refrain from depositing funds into old CryptoPia addresses. Yeah, don't do that because they're controlled by hackers now. We have updates to come tomorrow. So if you mine to CryptoPia, if you have CryptoPia addresses, do not use them. Do not send anything to them, and not even mining rewards, anything. The focus is on identifying those behind this offending and retrieving the stolen cryptocurrency. This investigation expected to take a considerable amount of time to resolve due to the complexity of the cyber environment. So basically, it's about $16 million in Ether and ERC20 tokens could have been lost. So I haven't heard anything about other tokens like Bitcoin, Litecoin, maybe even like USDT, like Tether or USDC or Tether. Bitcoin, Litecoin, anything like that. So if you had Tether or Bitcoin or Litecoin, you may still have your funds on CryptoPia. It seems like, from what everybody says and from all these articles, that it was just all Ether tokens, Ethereum and ERC20 tokens. So if you had Ethereum or ERC20 tokens, likely they are gone. But when the site comes back up, you can log in and check, but likely gone. Bitcoin and Litecoin, I'm very unsure about, because I've never read an article where it says, this much Bitcoin or this much Litecoin or this much Tether or whatever was stolen. So if you have that, it may still be on there. There may still be hope for you. Cryptocurrency miners are making millions for doing absolutely nothing. So this is kind of interesting because it talks about Litecoin, Bitcoin, Cash, etc. So with Bitcoin, usually there are full blocks or close to it. Rarely ever in Bitcoin is there, empty blocks. It happens, but not particularly often. Bitcoin Cash miners have processed over 3,300 empty blocks since August 2017. An average of about 5 million is earned across all major networks. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, being the most popular proof-of-work blockchains, have the fewest empty blocks. They report that Ethereum has the fewest empty blocks overall, although in 2017 it paid out 65 million in rewards for empty blocks. So Ethereum has probably the fewest empty blocks because, one, it has even though it has a very slow block production time of 20, 30 seconds lately, there's all the dApps and all the transactions going through exchanges plus the dApps. It really makes sense. The issue presents an interesting dynamic. The tone of Dyar's article suggests that miners are doing nothing, however, whether a transactions or not. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are doing nothing. Of course, they're using electricity and buying hardware, putting real effort, real money, real electricity, real hardware into the creation of it, as opposed to the fiat currency where they're like, we're going to make $1 trillion today. You know what I mean? We're going to make it today, and we're going to make it out of cotton and send it out, and it's not going to really be backed by anything. So I guess you could say, well, it's a lot of cotton and ink and paper, so that's cool. But other than that, yeah. So Litecoin apparently has the most empty blocks due to the network underutilization and a faster block time. So Litecoin boasts a 2-minute block time, which is greater than Ethereum. So you know, you would assume that Litecoin would actually have fewer empty blocks, but there are no dApps or anything like that running on it. So every 2 minutes a new block is targeted, and the actual time varies greatly on difficulty, of course. So block such and such, for example, from Tuesday had just 3 transactions. Totally less than 1 Litecoin. However, the block pays out 25 Litecoin in mining reward, meaning the miner earned more than $1,000 to process the less than $50. However, that is determined if, of course, that block was from a pool and went out to everybody, or that was a solo miner, and I highly doubt it was a solo miner at this point. So that's a totally different idea. So the process less than $50 to receive $1,000 in Litecoin overall, but that was probably from a pool. So whoever wrote this article is a little silly. But I did like to point out that Bitcoin Cash, of course, has tons of empty blocks. Bitcoin SV has 128 megabyte block size maximum, but it never has more than a megabyte. So it's just completely underutilized because, just, of course, nobody's going to use Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV. This is ridiculous. I think I'm really glad that more and more people are waking up. I think when Bitcoin Cash first came out and I started fudding on it and making, you know, Bitcoin Cash scam videos and talking about how I hate Bitcoin Cash, I got a lot of flack for it. There was just tons of very angry comments. And I think it's just because they were bag holders. There are people investing into it. Of course, they don't want to see a video on YouTube talking bad about it, in the same way that I get ripped on for ripping on EOS, and those are just bag holders. I know at this point that if you FUD on me and you attack me for not liking Bitcoin Cash or EOS or these various other coins, I know in my heart, like I smile inside when I read those, because I know that you hold EOS or Bitcoin Cash and you're angry at that, because I made a video that got 10,000, 20,000, whatever views. I think they did back in the day, not anymore, because nobody talks about crypto in the bear market except for me. But you know, back then I got way more views. So, you know, it's fairly popular and convinced probably some people, you know, and FUD, of course, lowers the price of coins. And so all the people holding Bitcoin Cash or EOS, of course, they want to go and find YouTube videos that are talking good about it, because that makes them feel good. It makes them feel like the price is going to go up if everybody else in the comments was like, yeah, go EOS, go Bitcoin Cash. But I think people started to realize after a really long time that Bitcoin Cash was not the real Bitcoin. It did not take it over in terms of hash rate. It did not take it over in terms of its dollar value, and it just slumped. And will it go back up in price? Of course it will. The whole market will eventually. Of course, Ethereum will go back up to maybe 1,000 someday. Maybe Bitcoin Cash will go up to a couple thousand, 3,000 someday. Maybe Bitcoin will go back up to 20,000, and that's going to bring everything up with it. And you could say, well, look, it went up in price. Well, the whole market went up in price. It did not go up disproportionately. It did not overtake Bitcoin. So this crypto spiked 60% within minutes of featuring on HTC's blockchain smartphone. Really nice clickbait there. So that's what you got to use in the YouTube world and the blogger world, is this crypto spiked. This thing is going to say, or wow, this blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You don't actually put it in the title like I do, because I'm a normal person and I don't want to, you know, have you click on things that you don't want to click on. Of course you got to put this crypto spike. Love that clickbait. Anyway, so this article talks about Decentraland or Mana, and also Engine Coin. So during HTC's Exodus 1 review, or whatever, their corporate whatever, where they showed it off, people noticed 2 interesting things that were shown in their Exodus blockchain wallet. So among like Bitcoin and Ethereum that was shown in there, 2 interesting coins were shown in there, and that was Engine Coin and Mana, or Decentraland, whatever you want to call it. Engine and Mana were shown in there, and the reason why they did that is because that you know, both smartphone manufacturers are said to have integrated unique crypto assets like Decentraland and Engine Coin over major currencies like the likes of Ripple, EOS, Litecoin, Stellar, Tron, because of their belief that the potential of blockchain technology exceeds the realm of payments. Well, Tron does more than payments. Technically, there's like dApps on Tron, so I don't know why they would say that. But either way, I get what you're saying, that they wanted to add some other ones. They sort of partnered with Mana. Mana partnered with them, or however you want to say it. they partnered with each other. Decentraland and Engine Coin partnered with HTC. So, of course, they showed them off. And it does make sense. I do like that idea. Of course, like, you're not just going to always show Bitcoin and Ethereum or Litecoin, even though Ethereum can have dApps too. This is starting to make no sense. But either way, you get what I'm saying. That there's other potential blockchain technology that exceeds the realm of payments, and that totally makes sense. And they sure did pump. Let's head on to CoinMarketCap and take a look at that pump. So we're going to type in "old mana" here and take a look at what happened, just because it was shown in... and oh man, it went from let's call it 3.5, 3.6 cents up to 5 cents and is immediately dumping. We could see a very similar thing with Engine as well. That pumped because of it as well. It didn't pump, well, maybe it pumped harder. It actually kind of pumped harder from about 3.5 cents to 10 cents real fast, and now it's starting on its way down. So if you have Engine Coin, might want to sell it because it's going down really fast. Hint, hint. So moving on. So we've seen a bit of a dump just now. Actually, like literally just before I started this video, there was a dump. So if we go to the 7-day chart, we can start to see that we're going from 3,800 and we are going on our way to 3,600 here. We're in the 3,700 range now. We were a little bit lower. I think we actually kind of moved back just for a second there. Ethereum dumping, and it seems like most coins in the market are now starting to whale dump a little bit after all of that excitement. So we're down to 127 market cap, and cue the roller coaster Bitcoin meme, because it's the perfect meme. It's just we're up and then just billions in the market, down and then up. All these coins are lit, bro. JR business, no doubt. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. That helps me out a lot. My social media in the description below. Follow me on there if you get the chance. Again, that's all I got for you guys. And I'll see you guys next time.